Caden Calgar. Somebody had to say it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello, welcome to the Caden Calgar program, broadcasting from West Virginia. It's great to have you with us. You know, at one point in time in America, you could be a man and actually be proud of it, you know, cooking on a grill, lifting weights, grunting, you know, man stuff. And now, I guess all of that is recognized as being toxic. How dare you act like a man? If you don't talk with a lisp, then, sorry, buddy, you know, you don't deserve to have a place in society. If you have to spread your legs and mansplain, oh my goodness, you should act like there's no reason for you to do that. You should keep your legs together like a woman. Because after all, we know that there's no difference between a woman and a man, including in anatomy, I guess. But, you know, that's what the left has created. It's this complete myth. I mean, human anatomy teaches that there are clear differences between men and women. Although I know that facts are something that liberals resent nowadays, which they have for the most part of their existence. But anyway, Gillette Razor Company, a company that predominantly sells men's essentials, has decided to attack men in a marketing advertising campaign. Can someone please explain to me how this is a smart idea? If you are selling predominantly men's products, okay, to men who go to the store, who buy razor blades, who buy razors, and you think that it's let's have a great idea. Let's attack men and see how our product does. That's what Gillette Razor Company decided to do. And they created this advertising campaign called We Believe the Best Men Can Be. We Believe the Best Men Can Be. And it's received 481,000 dislikes on YouTube. And in addition to that, it only has 160,000 likes. That's a really effective marketing campaign. So people are definitely talking about it, but the problem is that when you are marketing a product and people are talking about this ad, you've just alienated a bunch of men. And there are many men now that will not buy your products, including me, who has been, and personally, I've been a Gillette customer. I have a Gillette razor blade. Oh, not anymore. It's in the trash. So, along with the Nike sneakers. But anyway, they have just completely alienated a bunch of men. And, you know, I was watching Fox and Friends this morning, and the lady that was on there watched this ad, and she didn't really get into depth on it or understand the innuendo behind it. But what they did in this ad was that they included things that are clearly outrageous, like grabbing women, things like that, that everybody that is civil and that any gentleman would view as being objectionable, highly objectionable. But what they did was that they equated that with things that are not bad at all, like two kids wrestling. Big deal. You roughhouse. I mean, that's something that kids have always done. And then they have men cooking on a grill. I guess that's toxic masculinity. And they were saying boys will be boys. Why boys will be boys? Because these two kids were wrestling on the ground. Big whoop-de-doo. Okay? I mean, kids do that all the time. God forbid they end up finding out that there are actual sports called wrestling and boxing. Goodness sakes. God forbid they find out that that's actually a sport. Two of them. Wrestling, boxing. One's punching another person, and oh my goodness, that's violent. And the other one is pinning someone to the ground. Oh my goodness, well, we can't have that. You know, so that's the kind of absolute absurdity that the media is promoting now, and that Gillette has decided to embrace. Here's the ad, and you can hear it for yourself. The first thing that they say in this ad, toxic masculinity. That's one of the first things. Listen to this. This is the Gillette ad. We believe the best men can be.
Bullying.
The Me Too movement against sexual harassment.
Masculinity.
See, right there. Okay, they just said the Me Too movement. Toxic masculinity. And it has men looking at themselves in the mirror. So all men should be in an absolutely emotionally traumatized state because of the Me Too movement. Oh my goodness. I've contributed to this. Why? Because I'm a man. That's honestly what they're going for here. So because we're men, we should feel in an absolutely emotionally involved state in this whole entire Me Too thing, because I guess only men can sexually assault people, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. There are also women out there that, yes, sexually assault men. Okay, that happens. So to just throw all this on men, this ad is sexist. To say that the Me Too movement is only to be focused on men, that's sexist. Anyway, keep playing it. Toxic masculinity, that was the third thing that they said.
Is this the best a man can get?
So is this the best that a man... I'm sorry, I'm going to have to keep pausing it. Is this the best that a man can get? Toxic masculinity. Me Too movement. I mean, are you kidding me? So this is the best that a man can be. The Me Too movement. So all men are sexual assaulters. All of them sexually harass women. All of them are people who have toxic masculinity. Oh my. Everybody has to start talking with a lisp. I mean, that's what Gillette is going for here. This is what they are trying to do. They are hoping that through this ad, they are going to be able to create a social movement that makes every man in the country effeminate. That's what they're going for here.
Is it?
Is it? Now bullying is a problem. Can't hide from it.
It's been going on far too long.
It's been going on far too long.
We can't laugh it off.
Can't laugh it off. Who's the daddy? That's objectionable there.
What I actually think she's trying to say.
Making the same old excuses.
Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys.
Okay.
But something finally changed.
This is stupid. Oh, the Young Turks. Anna, what's her name? Kasparian. I don't really care. I don't watch them. But, here you have Anna from the Young Turks that's on there. She's a really credible news source. Yeah. They don't invoke opinions at all. They are commentators. They are not news reporters. Okay? Let's understand that. They are commentators. They're not unbiased journalists. So, there again, Gillette thinks it's a great idea to insert some of the biggest liberal cronies out there, online anyway, into their ad. They think that benefits them. Well, there again, right there, they are trying to appeal to liberal people because they have inserted the young jerks. Anyway.
Regarding sexual assault and sexual harassment.
But she says
Hey, and look at that. Go back there and see, look at that. They have different other reporters there. I'm seeing like several reporters that are clearly fake. So it is nice to know that they have placed the Young Turks. And is that... Yeah, I was thinking that was ABC News, but that's not ABC News. It's nice to know that they place the Young Turks beside of a ton of other fake journalists. That is just spot on. I do like that.
And there will be no going back.
No going back.
Because we believe in the best in men.
Men need to hold other men accountable.
And he was sexually abused by a woman.
Come on.
So about
to
that?
say the right thing.
That's not how we treat each other, okay?
That's not how we treat each other, okay? I love how he has, like, the most effeminate, like, it sounds like he's taking estrogen injections just to try to destroy his toxic masculinity. It's not how we treat each other, okay? Even though they're wrestling on the ground, just having fun. I mean, guys, this is clear as day an advertising campaign to try to make all men beta males. That's what this is all about.
Caden Calgary. Somebody had to say it.
With all the fake news spread by the lying mainstream media,
It's fake, phony, fake.
it can be hard to find the truth. That's why you should listen to the Caden Calgary program. You'll stay informed on current events and hear great conservative commentary you won't find anywhere else. Also, be sure to tell your friends. Subscribe to the Caden Cowger program on iTunes or Google Play Music. It's conservative talk on my schedule, and I don't miss a second of it. Thanks for listening. Now, back to the show.
Caden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
So, see, what the left always does is that they take things that are clearly objectionable, like grabbing women, like clear sexual harassment, and then they always accompany that with something that is not objectionable. But they try to say this is the same thing. That's the problem. Toxic masculinity, that is so absolutely outrageous. The problem that we have in this country is that there's not enough masculinity. I want you to listen to these statistics. 43% of children live without their father. 90% of homeless and runaway children are from fatherless homes. This is from the Bureau of Census, the U.S. Department of Census. You have 80% of rapists that are motivated with displaced anger that come from fatherless homes. So here you have 71% of pregnant teenagers that lack a father. That's from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. You have 63% of youth suicides that are from fatherless homes. That is from the DHHS. You have 85% of children who exhibit behavioral disorders that come from fatherless homes. From the Centers for Disease Control. You have 90% of adolescent repeat arsonists that live only with their mother. That's from Psychology Today. You have 71% of high school dropouts that come from fatherless homes. That's from the National Principals Association report on the state of high schools. You have 75% of adolescent patients in chemical abuse centers from fatherless homes. You have 70% of juveniles in state-operated institutions that have no father. That's from the U.S. Department of Justice. You have 85% of youths in prisons that grew up in fatherless homes. You have fatherless boys and girls that are twice as likely to drop out of high school, twice as likely to end up in jail, and 4 times more likely to need help for emotional or behavioral problems, and that is from the DHHS. So there you go. The problem in the United States of America is not toxic masculinity. It's that there isn't enough of it. There isn't enough masculinity. We have children growing up throughout this entire country that are growing up without fathers. They're growing up without a dad. They don't have a male figure in their lives. They don't have any male influence. All that they have is female influence, and mothers do the best that they can that have to raise their children in fatherless homes. But that's the real problem here. There aren't enough dads staying home. There isn't enough male influence in children's lives. It's not toxic masculinity. It's that masculinity is absent from many children's lives nowadays. So you want to really start fixing these problems? We need more masculinity, not less. So guys, moving on. CNN's Erin Burnett and her panel of chuckleheads were absolutely triggered by a joke that Trump made about making a salad. I'm not kidding. Go ahead and listen to this.
Got to play something that just happened, though, about the shutdown for both of you. This is the president. He did go ahead with some meetings today despite the shutdown, including one with the Clemson Tigers, right, for their championship meeting. And here's what he said.
So I had a choice. Do we have no food for you because we have a shutdown? Or do we give you some little quick salads that the first lady will make along with the second lady? They'll make some salads. And I said, you guys aren't into salads. Or do I go out, Lindsey Graham and Tim Scott, do I go out and send out for about 1,000 hamburgers, Big Macs? So we actually...
That's a appalling. It seems to me like
What
the
was
president
appalling?
will not be happy until there is not one single female Republican voter in the country.
Women
It's
making
incredibly
salad.
sexist.
I
It
understand.
also, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know why I'm stuck on this, but Ivanka is not the second lady. She's
Oh, my
actually,
gosh.
I don't think she deserves this position. She's
No.
actually a senior advisor
And
to
to
the
make
president.
her
So the
the
idea that
second
he would
lady.
demean her specifically in that way, he shouldn't talk about the first lady that way. We aren't all here to make salads for men. It's disgusting.
I mean, I'm presuming he was.
Well, I hope that she can make a salad better than she can being a commentator on CNN, because if not, poor lady, I feel bad for her husband having to go to Kroger's every night to buy TV dinners. But, you know, here's the thing. This is what's so absolutely outrageous about this, okay? This was a joke. Ivanka Trump is President Trump's daughter. So that's where he got second lady from. She's not the second lady. Oh, my goodness. Lady, you got some issues. I mean, who cares? Second lady, he's talking about his daughter. Big whoop-de-doo. And saying something that's off the cuff like that, you know, he's not saying, oh, the only thing that women can do is make salads. It's not what Trump was saying at all. Okay? That's not at all what he was expressing. My goodness, Trump is known for giving women high positions in his company, in his organization, at a time when practically no other employer out there was really doing that. Trump was assigning women to various positions of power within his company. So he clearly doesn't think that a woman's place is in the kitchen. And look at his daughter. Clearly, she's not only in the kitchen. I mean, look at his wife. Clearly, she's not only in the kitchen. She has a whole clothing line that she puts out. So this absolute, you know, absurdity that CNN is engaging in here, it just does not convey any coherent message whatsoever. And that's really just it. It's completely incoherent. Keep playing it. They're not done being triggered.
Talking about Karen Pence when he said second lady.
Oh,
I don't
God,
know.
I'm sorry.
goodness.
No,
But she
I'm
shouldn't
presuming-
be doing it either.
But I mean,
So he's talking about Karen Pence, second lady. Well, then, yeah, there you go. That would be the second lady. Oh, my. Well, I just got outraged over nothing. Well, darn.
Scott, look,
That's crazy.
This is one of those things where sometimes what people say when they're being
crazier.
funny
She said that's
exposes
crazier.
exactly who they are. If
Okay.
there was any question, but this is pretty clear.
I certainly didn't take his comments to be sexist. I think
Right.
that, if somebody took them that way, you know, that's
So
fine.
then Mike
Probably
Pence
they want
maybe
to take
could have made
everything
the
that Donald
salads.
Trump says as being
Scott,
as
can I
being
just ask
evil.
you, how in the world do you not perceive that as sexist? To make the assumption that his wife's going to go make salads for the bunch of football players? What is she, like the cook?
Well, I didn't hear it that
She's
way. I
down to
eat
read.
salad almost every night for dinner. I mean, we make a lot of salads in the
come on,
Jennings
Scott.
household, and I
Does
make
your
some,
wife,
and
you
my wife
expect your
makes
wife
some.
to
I
make
mean, I
them
don't-
all for you? I mean, maybe she does.
No,
Fine.
I make some, and she makes some.
Okay, but that's not what he said.
I didn't take it that way. If somebody took it that way, that's fine. It didn't strike me that way. I think he was trying to make a joke about feeding hamburgers to football players. I think you might be overreading this one.
You expect your wife to make salads for you? I got news for you. You know, God forbid these people ever come out of their penthouses over in New York City and move down south, because let me tell you, there are a lot of ladies down there that know how to cook. And there are a lot of men down there that have no idea how to cook. Okay? So, I mean, you know, rather than eating cardboard for dinner, a lot of times, if one spouse knows how to cook and the other doesn't, then one spouse predominantly does all the cooking. So, you know, I don't understand what the big problem is here. Many women like to cook. They love cooking. Is that supposed to be a bad thing? President Trump? Perhaps he doesn't know how to cook. Perhaps Melania does. Perhaps Mrs. Pence does. I mean, this is so stupid that this is even a conversation. But, you know, there again, this just shows you how disconnected and out of touch these anchors at CNN and these commentators at CNN are with average everyday society. This is a non-issue. But, of course, CNN is going to do everything that they can to make it one. And by the way, with regards to all this, what about Jake Uger, who told a woman to go make him a sandwich on his television show? Why does he not get reprimanded by CNN or MSNBC for that?
Caden Calgary. Somebody had to say it.
All right, time to take off. Hey Siri, play Caden Calgary.
Playing the Caden Calgary program podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
With Apple CarPlay, I can listen to my favorite podcast on my way to work. Subscribe to the Caden Calgary program podcast on iTunes and listen to the show on demand, day or night. It's great commentary, keeps me informed, and part of my daily routine. It's conservative talk on my schedule, and I don't miss a second of it. Also, be sure to tell your friends. Subscribe to the Caden Calgary program on iTunes today. Now, back to the show.
Caden Calgary. Somebody had to say it.
I tell you, would you believe it? 90% of the news coverage of President Donald Trump is negative. I thought it was higher than that. But according to a new report from Newsbusters, 90% of the news that was produced last year was negative towards Trump. I mean, it's not surprising at all, but this just goes to show you that the liberal media is essentially the Democratic propaganda wing. That's what they do. They produce propaganda for the Democratic Party. They create and coerce these stories that are blatantly anti-Trump, that are blatantly anti-conservative. And they've been doing this for a long time, except it's just like when Trump entered into the scene that it threw gasoline on the fire. And I just played that audio bit for you from CNN of where they're calling Trump sexist because he made a joke about salad. And then there's this other story out here to give you an example of the liberal media's bashing of conservatives. You have MSNBC that suggested that Trump is blackmailing Lindsey Graham over an extreme secret. So go ahead and listen to this. This is from LSD. Go ahead.
National security issues.
Stephanie, before Donald Trump got elected, Lindsey Graham called Donald Trump a racist, xenophobic bigot. That is Lindsey Graham's words. I doubt Lindsey Graham could tell you Donald Trump's had a change of heart in the last 24 months. I bet what the change of heart has been with Lindsey Graham, not the president.
Or it could be that Donald Trump or somebody knows something pretty extreme about Lindsey Graham. We're going to leave it there.
Blackmail.
National security
issues.
Stephanie, before Donald Trump got elected, Lindsey Graham called Donald Trump a racist, xenophobic bigot.
Oh, no.
That is Lindsey Graham's words.
Oh, no.
I doubt Lindsey Graham could tell you Donald Trump's had a change of heart in the last 24 months. I bet what the change of heart has been with Lindsey Graham, not the president.
Or it could be that Donald Trump or somebody knows something pretty extreme about Lindsey Graham. We're going to leave it there.
If that's not conspiratorial, I don't know what is. I want to understand something. Why does Alex Jones get his entire YouTube account taken away, but MSNBC still has a YouTube account? They are saying that President Trump is blackmailing Lindsey Graham. Do they have any evidence for that? No. Do they have any documents to verify that? No. But what are they doing? They are just speculating. That's it. Speculating. Well, Donald Trump's probably blackmailing Lindsey Graham. And then, to make matters worse, you have the Democratic coalition chair saying that Trump and Putin may be blackmailing Lindsey Graham over a sexual kink. This is from Breitbart News. Go ahead and listen to this. John Cooper, the chairman of the Democratic coalition, claimed on Sunday that an unnamed Republican thinks that Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican from South Carolina, is being blackmailed by President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin over something related to a serious sexual kink. He also said that Graham's sexual orientation is an open secret. Now, here's the thing, all right? Lindsey Graham is a single guy. He is a single man. Okay, he's not married. Now, here's the deal. Lindsey Graham said back on October 12th, 2018, that he's not gay. That's what he said. He told that to the Washington Times. So Lindsey Graham said, quote, that he is not a homosexual. This is from the Washington Times. Senator Lindsey Graham said that he is not gay. He squashed rumors of him being gay after Chelsea Handler, liberal comedian that's not funny, wrote a tweet mocking the single Republican as being closeted, which many critics deem homophobic. Ms. Handler faced backlash Thursday after she tweeted, "If you're wondering why Republicans took a sick day today, it's probably because it's National Coming Out Day. Looking at you, Senator Lindsey Graham." So conservatives and members of the gay community accused the tweet of being homophobic. You have Senator Graham that said, "I don't think much about what she says at all. If she wants to live her life that way, that's up to her. She knows zero about me," he said. "To the extent that it matters," he said, "I am not gay." So there you go. That's Lindsey Graham saying that he is not a homosexual male. I mean, this is just so absolutely ridiculous. And on top of that, Lindsey Graham also, and I recall reading this, Lindsey Graham also, I think, co-sponsored a constitutional amendment to make marriage between a man and a woman. That was back when Bush was in office. So I don't understand this notion that people who are conservative-minded, that oppose homosexual conduct, especially go to the degree of making marriage defined as being between a man and a woman in the United States Constitution. I don't understand how people get, "Oh, well, they must be gay." The left has done everything that they possibly can to create an open society that is very inclusive, and you can go out and you can be a 50 Shades of Grey character and you will still be accepted in liberal land. So I mean, they have gone to great lengths to normalize all various types of perversion. I don't understand why they think at this point if someone was closeted, they would still remain closeted. It's very inclusive now. It's very open now. And Lindsey Graham could, clearly just come out of the closet and, announce to everybody that this is the way that I am, this is the way that I feel. And, next thing you know, he's exalted. He is, Milo Yiannopoulos status. I don't understand, why they come up with this absolute garbage. But there again, they're trying to smear him just because he is who he is. And, the intriguing thing is that really he started to change after John McCain died. So if you're going to make these conspiratorial allegations, it'd be smarter to say, well, perhaps John McCain was blackmailing him, not President Trump. So this is just so dumb. It really is dumb. Okay, the reality of it is that Lindsey Graham's state voted heavily for Donald Trump. Lindsey Graham wants to survive in the Republican Party. He sees that the establishment is on their way out. So he's basically has the green light to be more conservative. And if he wants to stay in his position of power, he had better be more conservative, because challenging Trump at this point in the GOP is suicide. It is political suicide. And I'm sure that Graham does not want to be kicked out of office. So that is that whole situation explained. But of course, it makes much more sense for the left to come up with these bizarre conspiracy theories talking about how Vladimir Putin has hired Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is a secret agent for Russia, and he has gone to great lengths to gather all of this information to blackmail Lindsey Graham, and that he's doing this to get Lindsey Graham to do anything that he wants. So that is easier to believe than Lindsey Graham just decided, coming to a revelation in his life. Wow, we're actually getting stuff done. Wow, I can actually be an outspoken conservative and still do well in South Carolina and hold my position. Wow, maybe I should actually start fighting the left. He had an Orrin Hatch moment where he just doesn't care. He's ready to start combating the Democrats because he understands that the Democrats are not interested in compromising at all.
Caden Calgary. Somebody had to say it.
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to today's show. I want to tell you another great way that you can listen to this podcast. You can do that by downloading the iHeartRadio app from the iTunes App Store or Google Play. You can just search my name, Caden Cowger, and then listen to the show. You'll gain access to great conservative content, insightful commentary, and you'll stay up to date on the nation's latest news. So what are you waiting for? Download the iHeartRadio app today. Thanks so much again for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.
Caden Cowger. Somebody had to say it.
All right, guys, so you have a study that came out and was published in the Journal of Neuroscience, and it's making all the headlines right now. And the study found that even a little bit of marijuana may change the teen brain. This is according to NBC News by Dr. Shamard Charles. Low levels of marijuana use, as few as 1 or 2 times, may change the teen brain, according to a new study. The study, which looked at the brains of 46 14-year-old girls and boys from Ireland, England, France, and Germany, found that teenagers who reported using recreational marijuana just once or twice displayed increased volume on MRI images in numerous brain regions involved in emotion-relating processing, learning, and forming memories. The results of the study were published Monday in the Journal of Neuroscience. Most people would likely assume that 1 or 2 uses of joints would have no impact. We were curious to study this, and especially to investigate if first uses may actually produce brain changes that affect future behavior, like, for example, subsequent use. And this was by Hugh Garavan, the lead author of the study and a professor of psychiatry at the University of Vermont School of Medicine. And he said that in an email to NBC News. Now, the study did not say what the increased brain matter volume means, but researchers noted that the enlargement of gray matter contradicts normal adolescent development. So here's the thing. If it's increasing gray matter, this is something that we have known for quite some time. I mean, this has been a reiteration of other conclusions that have been made in other studies. I mean, there's an increase in gray matter that takes place when you smoke marijuana. It's just that now we're seeing the development of gray matter when people just smoke 1 or 2 joints for the first time. So this is really overtly intriguing. And another thing that's important to point out is that this increase in gray matter was only found in teenagers. This study, for the most part, has not been conducted on adults. This was just geared around teenage use of marijuana. See, this is what it says. At the age in which we studied, these kids were ages 14, the regions of their brain are going through a process of thinning, he said, suggesting that it is a sculpting process that makes the brain and its connections more efficient. So, one possibility is that the cannabis use has disrupted this pruning process, resulting in larger volumes in the cannabis users. Another possibility is that the cannabis use has led to a growth in neurons in the connections between them. It's not the first research to find that cannabis use may cause changes to the teen brain. In a recent study, it found that teen brains are more vulnerable to the effects of marijuana than alcohol. Oh, well, isn't that a complete, boulder in the side of the ship that the left has built, saying that alcohol is less damaging than, or alcohol is more damaging than marijuana. And in June, the University of Pennsylvania scientists discovered that young people who used marijuana frequently were more likely than non-users to have slightly lower scores on tests of memory, learning new information, and higher level problem solving and information processing. So overall, long story short, guys, when you smoke pot, you're probably going to be a loser for the rest of your life unless you decide to stop, because you're too stoned to care about anything. That's just an observational perspective. So anyway, and in addition to that, you have Denver, that is considering becoming the first U.S. city to decriminalize the use of magic mushrooms. So Denver, Colorado is now trying to normalize psychedelics. Happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy. Oh, well, let's see what else we have going on in the news. Oh, yes, this is such a heartwarming story. This is going to make you absolutely nauseous at your stomach. So, you have a 10-year-old boy whose name is Nemes Quinn Melicon Golden over in Canada, who is a drag kid, quote-unquote, sort of like that drag kid Desmond that is circulating around right now. And anyway, this kid, this little boy, 10 years old, this little boy named Nemes, he was photographed with a naked adult drag queen. This is so absolutely nauseating. But, all of us conservatives said, pedophilia is next. We tried to tell you that NAMBLA was associated with the International Lesbian and Gay Association that was linked to the United Nations, that received an association with the United Nations all the way up to the 90s, but then they were kicked out of the UN because they were affiliated with NAMBLA, so then the International Lesbian and Gay Association had to drop NAMBLA in order to rejoin the UN. But we tried explaining this to everybody, that this was recognized as a gay right going all the way back to the year 1972 when they had the Gay Rights Conference, the first one of its kind, over in Chicago, where they voted to remove the legal age of consent, and that would be considered a gay right. We tried saying this, but no one wanted to listen. Everyone just ignored it. That didn't happen. That, even though historians have it documented, even though in the National New York Library of Archives they have the audio tapes of all of the things discussed at that conference, this is just completely ignored. No one wants to pay any attention to it. But now we clearly see that they are trying to normalize pedophilia. This drag kid, 10 years old, this 10-year-old boy that was photographed with this adult male completely naked with his tail tucked in between his legs. I mean, guys, I'm sorry. There needs to be a capital punishment for this kind of crap. This is so absolutely detestable.
Caden Calgary. Somebody had to say it.
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to today's show. I want to tell you another great way that you can listen to this podcast. You can do that by downloading the iHeartRadio app from the iTunes App Store or Google Play. You can just search my name, Caden Calgary, and then listen to the show. You'll gain access to great conservative content, insightful commentary, and you'll stay up to date on the nation's latest news. So what are you waiting for? Download the iHeartRadio app today. Thanks so much again for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.
Caden Calgary. Somebody had to say it.
I'm tired of this. They are now targeting children. It has gone to a level that is so absolutely disgusting. And then in addition to all that, you have the Daily Wire reporting that an 11-year-old boy named Desmond was in Brooklyn, New York, and danced at a gay bar. Got dollar bills thrown at him. They are pedophiles. They are sexualizing children, and no one seems to care. Don't hear this on national TV. I mean, everybody would like to say that, this link between homosexual activism and pedophilia is non-existent, that it was just created by homophobes. But the reality of it is that NAMBLA was associated with the International Lesbian and Gay Association, which is an accredited organization by the UN, all the way up to the 1990s until they said, we're going to pull all of our funding from the International Lesbian and Gay Association unless you drop NAMBLA, because we don't want any of our money going to a group of pedophile activists. So then the pedophiles were kicked out of the LGBT movement. No one wants to talk about that, but even though it's documented, you can research for yourself. I encourage you to. It's just so absolutely disgusting. In addition to that, you have Harvey Milk, the icon, the poster child of the LGBT movement, that contacted a 16-year-old boy, said, oh, hey, well, you're gay and in the closet. Why don't you move in with me? So then what ended up happening was that he contacted this kid. This kid, his name was McKinley, moved over to California with him, ended up committing suicide because he was in a sexual relationship with Harvey Milk. And Then there was another boy that Harvey Milk tried to do this to, and this was multiple occurrences. This was a gay journalist over in the San Francisco area that documented this one, wrote the book The Mayor of Castro Street that documented that, but no one wants to talk about this. No. And anyone that says it, anyone that brings it up, you're just on an anti-gay rant, and you must hate gay people. This isn't about that. This is about perversion being normalized in this country and basic human anatomy being rejected, okay? Sexual orientation is not a choice. You are assigned your orientation at birth. If you're born in a male body, you are born to be compatible with a female. If you're born in a female's body, you're born to be compatible with a man. I'm sorry if that offends you, but that's just the way that God designed us. It's not a choice. You make it a choice. But anyway, guys, this is what we're seeing happening now. They're trying to normalize pedophilia. You have naked men that are now posing with drag kids. Parents should be thrown in jail and charged with child abuse charges. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you for listening to us. For more information on the Caden Calgary program, go to CadenCalgaryProgram.com. For the latest news exposing the left, go to CalgaryNation.com. Thank you, God bless, and God save this nation.